Hey everyone, I'm Eric. You know that feeling at the end of the day? When you were busy, you were definitely busy, but you don't feel like you actually accomplished anything important? Or you look at your to-do list and somehow it's even longer than when you started? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, this explainer is for you. We're going to break down the productivity classic, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Let's get right into it.
So let me start with a kind of a weird question. Imagine that every single morning, your first job of the day is to eat a live frog. When would you do it? Would you, put it off, stare at it, dread it all day, and then finally choke it down right before bed? Or would you just get it over with first thing and have the rest of your day frog-free?
Now, this whole idea, this slightly strange analogy, it actually comes from a famous Mark Twain quote. And believe it or not, this is the core philosophy behind the entire book. This one idea, it's really the key to unlocking a level of focus and productivity that you might not even think is possible right now.
So, what exactly is this frog? Well, in Brian Tracy's system, your frog is your most important, your highest impact task. It's that one thing on your list that if you actually did it, would have the biggest positive effect on your goals and your life. And, it's true, it's almost always the very last thing you want to do. So today, we're going to break this down into 3 simple parts. First, we're going to figure out how to spot your real frog. Then, I'm going to give you the exact tools you need to, hunt it down. And finally, we'll talk about how to turn all of this into a powerful daily routine that actually sticks.
All right, part 1. Let's start by looking at the problem a little differently. Finding your frog isn't just about picking the hardest thing on your list. It's about finding the most valuable one and really understanding why our brains seem to be hardwired to run away from it.
And that brings us to a fundamental law of productivity you've probably heard of, the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. The idea is simple. 80% of your really meaningful results come from just 20% of what you do. Your frog is hiding in that critical 20%. The trap that we all fall into, right, is spending our days busy in the trivial 80% because it's easy and it makes us feel like we're doing something. But true effectiveness comes from being ruthless about focusing on that vital 20%. Which, of course, leads to a pretty obvious question. If we know that this one task is the key to everything, why do we instinctively run in the other direction? Well, the answer isn't about willpower, it's about psychology. So there are really 3 main culprits here. First, our brains are basically reward junkies. They love the instant gratification you get from, say, answering a quick email. It gives you a tiny dopamine hit, a little feeling of, I did something. Tackling a huge, complex project? Not so much. Second, there's fear. Plain and simple. Fear of failure, fear of what people will say. It just feels safer to stick with the easy stuff. And third, vague goals. A goal like improve my English is so big and abstract, it's almost impossible to even know where to start. It's a shapeless, terrifying frog. Okay, so we understand why we procrastinate. Now for the good stuff. Let's get into the how. This next part is all about the practical, actionable tools you can use to systematically conquer those frogs. Remember that vague goal problem? This 7-step method is the antidote. It seems so simple, but the act of deciding exactly what you want, writing it down, giving it a deadline, and then breaking it into smaller steps, it transforms a huge, intimidating frog into a clear, step-by-step recipe. Suddenly, it feels possible. So you've got a plan, and it's broken down into a list of tasks. Great, but, a long list can be just as paralyzing. How do you decide what to do first? For that, we need what I think is the most powerful tool in the entire book. Just look at this. The difference is night and day, right? On the left is the kind of chaos most of us live in, a random mix of important things and trivial junk, all screaming for our attention. On the right is the absolute clarity you get from applying the ABCD method. Instantly you know your frog. It's A1. Write the proposal. Everything else has to wait. Okay, so here's how this method works. A items are your frogs, the absolute must-dos with serious consequences. B items are your tadpoles, things you should do, but only after your A tasks are done. C's are just nice to do, D's you delegate, and E's, you just eliminate them, get rid of them. But here's the unbreakable rule. You never, ever do a B task if there is still an A task left undone. This simple rule forces you to focus on what truly matters. And this introduces a really cool idea, creative procrastination. This doesn't mean being lazy, It means you make a conscious, strategic choice to procrastinate on the unimportant stuff, your B and C tasks, so that you have more time and energy for your A1 frog. It's about being lazy on the right things.
All right, we have the theory, we have the tools, but knowing this stuff is one thing. Actually doing it is everything. This final part is all about turning these ideas into an unbreakable daily habit.
It comes down to a simple 3-part routine. First, prepare the night before. Seriously, take 10 minutes before you go to sleep to plan and prioritize your next day with the ABCD method. This primes your brain and gets rid of that "what should I do now" feeling in the morning. Second, protect your first hour. That golden hour when you wake up, when your willpower and focus are at their peak, that hour is sacred. No emails, no social media, just you and your A1 frog. And third, if you're struggling to get started, just start small. Pick a tiny 15-minute frog and just get it done. This builds momentum and trains what Tracy calls your execution muscle.
And let's be really clear about the ultimate goal here. The point of all this productivity stuff isn't to work more or to become some kind of robot. It's to work smarter so you can actually work less. It's about getting your most important work done efficiently so you have more time and, just as important, more mental energy for your family, your hobbies, your life. This is about creating freedom, not just being busy.
Okay, let's tie this all together. Your frog is your highest impact task, not just the hard one. We avoid it because of fear and because our brains love easy wins. The fix? You get crystal clear on your goals with the 7-step method. You prioritize ruthlessly with ABCDE. And you lock it all in as a habit by planning the night before and protecting that golden hour in the morning. So, I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. I'm serious, take a moment. What is that one thing you've been putting off that, if you finally just did it, would make the biggest positive difference in your career or your personal life? Identify it. That's your frog. Go eat it.
And hey, if you found this helpful, if it helped you clarify your own priorities, the best way to support what we do here is to hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone else who looks like they're staring at a big frog on their to-do list.
And we always want to hear from you. Is there a big idea or a book that you want us to break down next? Let us know down in the comments below.
Thank you for your time. I'm Eric, and I will see you in the next one.